Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about one of the great capabilities of Entra ID, right? So what is that capability and how we can use that and leverage it for many different scenarios, right? Including guest users, vendors, partners, and the application which is built and developed for consumers, right? Now you might be wondering what that consumer based application would be, right? So for example, if we have an application for e-commerce, or maybe there's something where people would simply sign up and they wanted to use any of the service, like we might use e-commerce applications, we might see or use any of those applications which are pretty easy forward for people to leverage, right? So for example, e-commerce is one of the example. Even if you wanted to take an example of shopping applications like online shopping, where you would build and host the different products like cottons or anything, right? Clothing and all those things, right? We are seeing so many different kind of applications as well as different businesses, and those are on top of the cloud, right? So that's the consumer facing applications where anyone can simply sign up, create an account, and then that's going to be simply authenticated with that respective user identity, and user would be able to get into the applications, right? Upon creating the profile with the basic details like, so email address is one of the basic details, and then first name, last name, and maybe if we wanted to take certain additional details, including email address, phone number, and the user address where they wanted to get the delivery of that product, right? So that is one of the example that I'm giving here, but there are so many different scenarios and examples that we can definitely build. And on top of that, we would be using this capability which I'm talking about. So what is that capability? So this is going to be the linked subscriptions, right? So now linked subscription is a capability of Entra ID where we can attach it with the Azure subscription for any external users to be able to access any applications that is hosted within our infrastructure, be it on premises, be it in the cloud only, right? Be it in the Azure subscription as well, right? And we would allow them to sign up to the applications upon configuring it correctly, right? So I'm not going to get into that level where we would simply create a sign-in subscription or sign up on sign-in subscription flow, but I'm going to show you how we can link that subscription with our Entra ID, right? So for example, I have Entra ID, but I need to link that subscription with my Entra ID so that I would get 50,000 multi-access users or multi-user access for a month, right? So that's a limitation, and that is free, right? So 50,000 users can access that respective application per month, right? And that is the limitation from Microsoft side. We should be using it, and that's a free of cost, right? And now you might be saying, okay, why should we go with MAU, which is multi-access or monthly active users model, instead of going to B2B, right? B2B as in business to business users, that's for business to business, or you might be looking into another model, which is business to consumer, right? B2C, right? So even those are also available, but when it comes to make an application available for all the customers, all the different partners, vendors, and anyone across the or outside there, right? Or outside the business, right? Definitely we should have a solution which is going to be allowing each and everyone to sign up and get into the system to access that resource or applications or data, whatever it is, or whatever the applications and capability we wanted to give them, right? And that is why this is going to be a really great one. And now you might be seeing that, okay, we have this monthly active users capability, which is giving us 50,000 active users per month, right? What about the cost, right? So cost is going to be something like, if you cross that 50,000 limit per month, then Microsoft is going to charge basis on the number of active users, right? So let's say 50,000 users were already occupied or exhausted that quota, then whatever this next sign up records will happen on the applications and on the Azure side, it's going to charge basis on that, right? So I'm not going to go into that level where it is going to calculate the cost per user per sign up or per sign in, but definitely this is going to be something which you should be aware about, and then you may reach out to Microsoft and understand the calculations, because the calculation is going to be different on other services than the Azure services or any other services. So that's going to definitely be different for each of those access levels, right? Right. And this is very important, why we should use it and why we can, right? So I'm going to talk a bit about that as well. Right. So there might be questions, when should you choose this capability, right? So this is capability for Entra External IDs with MAU model. As I said, monthly active users with, when we have external identities capability, we don't want to go with B2B and B2C guest users. Instead, we wanted to go with Entra External Identity capability, which is going to be helpful for us on the customer using or consumer facing applications, partners accessing that respective applications, along with the contractors and guest users from different organizations as well, right? So that's going to be helpful for those organizations as well, right? Along with that, there is a flexibility as well, right? So as I said, there will be 50,000 free monthly active users per month, right? Which covers a large portion of most organizations' external identity base, right? Many organizations does not have to pay additional costs because they don't have more than 50,000 active users, and then that's going to be free for them at all, right? And if they are going beyond 50,000, then it's going to be only pay for what you use model, which is going to unused users don't cost anything, right? That means if there is no activity, then there is no cost at all, right? So basis on that, it is going to be easy for all those organizations, and it is ideal for startups as well as public service who grow over the time. That means only for those organizations which are kind of small to medium scale organizations where they don't have a bigger or larger customer base. Maybe they are not expanded yet to reach that level, so that they don't have to add or additional cost to it, and they don't have to buy, or they are not going to hit that quota at all, right? Now, next question would be something, when you need to secure access for or to external applications using identity platform, right? So we can depend on different capabilities like built-in features, SSO, MFA, custom branding, and custom identity access management, right? So which is also called as SIEM, right? CIAM, right? So even that can also be integrated and rebranded with this one. This is also going to support and helpful for organizations who wanted to migrate from their existing Azure AD B2C to Entra External Identity, right? So this way they can keep using this model and it's going to support as well, right? But there would be some of the limitations and some of the capabilities, but definitely it's going to help with least support and requirement, right? So that also needs to be assessed correctly and make sure that is going to help for the organizations and their goal that they are trying to achieve, right? And the next one is, when we are building consumer facing applications with a higher reach, that means we need to be maybe more than 50,000. So in that case, we would need additional capabilities, or we would need additional planning, and then it's going to cost basis on that number of levels or number of access, right? Let's say we have 1 million user accessing that application. That means definitely 50,000 is just a kind of small portion of the activities that users are simply going to hit that within a few days, maybe 3 to 5 days, and then organization has to add additional cost, or that's going to be expensive for organization, right? So that way they have to plan and make that appropriate. Now, there would be another question, when we should not use this model, which is MAU model, right? Whether I should use it or not, because if I have the scenario or use case, I would definitely, but if I don't have, then I should not use, because if I'm making investment, or maybe I just wanted to use it for a testing purpose, I can use it. But if I have to go with that applications and which is being heavily used across the different regions, global environments, then definitely we should think and how it's going to scale up, whether it is going to help me to expand that reach and everything together, then definitely there is a question, we should use it or not, right? So let's talk a bit about why you should not use this one model, right? So when it comes to internal employees, this model is not for internal employees, or it is not going to work, because when it is for internal, we must go either with Entra ID P1 or P2 license, not MAU model at all, right? When we wanted to authenticate users, we have to use this one, and we should not use if in case we don't want, or we are not relying on non-authenticated users, right? The next one is highly regulated applications, right? If a user's auditability and compliance billing is needed per user license, may be better, right? Instead of just going with this model, right? When there's a highly regulated industry where companies and organization wants to see each organizations as well as users activities, and they're accessing data, applications, and everything together from any locations, be it one country, one region, one area, then definitely this is not going to be the right fit for them, right? And then when there is a product or a specific service that is allowed and integrated, then definitely that can be leveraged, but with careful planning, and the organization has to make the right decisions on it as well, right? So as I said, it is 50,000 monthly active users per month. That's a free of cost on the cost structure or costing level. And on other features around billing units, add-ons, and double counting, as well as overpricing or overage pricing. So it is going to be based on the capabilities. Those are available for the free as well as the paid services. So that needs to be assessed as well, right? So let's look at some of the other areas where I would simply talk a bit about it, right? As I said, it needs Azure subscription requirement. It also provides, or it supports monthly active user attribute or user model. It gives 50,000 free monthly active users per month. And if we wanted to add additional add-on licenses or advanced capabilities, those do not come with additional free MAUs, right? So that's not going to come as well. And there is a bunch of document list available from Microsoft side as well, if in case that needs to be leveraged as well, right? And there would be another question: does Entra External ID supports access to different applications or scenarios? Or maybe you might be thinking that, okay, I have an application which is hosted on premises, whether it is going to support that scenario as well, right? So those are the scenarios I'm going to go through now. So it is going to support different scenarios or application types wherever it is hosted. Let's say you have a cloud only application, and that's a native support that is going to work seamlessly for the apps hosted in Azure or any public cloud with modern OAuth or authentication, which includes OAuth 2.0, OpenID Connect, and SAML, right? It also supports the on-premises applications with different connectors, including Azure AD application proxy, VPN, as well as third-party federation solutions. Then the next is consumer-facing applications, right? Where you would have designed for this includes user sign up and sign in, social identity federation, custom branding, and policies, which is going to be allowing users to simply get into the application. Now, the next one is going to be access for vendors and partners. That is also supported and provided with B2B collaboration scenarios, along with securing partner and vendor access with MAU billings and B2C scenario as well, right? So these are the different 5 scenarios where this is going to be supported and be useful or other organizations, right? So now let's jump onto the demo and I'll show you how we can go ahead and do that, right? So let me share my screen quickly here and we'll show you how we can integrate and make that integration possible, right? So you can see that I'm on Entra admin portal, but I'll just jump back to the main homepage and we'll show you how to navigate to that page, right? So on the home screen or home page, you can need to click on identity, and then under the billing section over here, there is an option called linked subscriptions. So click on it. Once you clicked there, you would come on this screen where you will see other bunch of options, and then you would see subscription with this subscription or option name, which is linked subscription. Now you see that there's one of the subscription name, which is this tenant's name, where I have all other services associated with it. You can see that directory type is Entra ID and status is not linked. There is no subscription and a resource group attached yet, right? So now if I have to go ahead and link it, then I need to click on this option or this checkbox over here and hit that link subscription button. Once I do that, you will see this pop coming up and it is going to show me subscription as well as the resource group selection area, where I would have an option to select respective resource group wherever I wanted to set this up, right? So I would select a subscription if I have multiple or more than one. For now, I have only one, so it's going to select that one default. And the next is a resource group. So I'll just go ahead and select this respective resource group wherever I wanted to attach it. And then you can see that billing unit as monthly active users as I was talking about it, right? So that's by default selected. And once you select everything and you are confident enough and you know that this is what I'm looking for and I wanted to, and you can simply come down here and hit that apply button. So I'll just click on apply. And this is going to complete this process. Once this process is completed, you would see the status has green tick mark with the linked status and then subscription and resource group attached to it, right? So once it is done, you would see it is successfully completed. Now to check this one, we can simply jump back to the Azure portal and see how it looks like. Right, so I'm on the Azure portal and I'll go back to the home screen again and jump back to that respective resource group. Right, so this is the home page and I'll click on resource groups, where is the resource group created. So here's the resource group what wherever I have attached it, and you can see that it has added the respective resource over here under the respective resource group, which is msavndsinc.onmicrosoft.com. Now you might be wondering how come this has identified or where this did get created, right? So this was created or was added because of the tenant name. You can see that initial few letters, which is msavndsinc, is the tenant name. And then on Microsoft.com is the vanity domain of that respective tenant, right? And that is why it has added that, or it has considered that as a tenant name, and it has created that respective URL. And you can see the type is guest usage and the location is United States. And there are a bunch of options on the three ellipses over here within Azure portal, right? So those are the basic options, but when it comes to management of this one, you need to click on this link or URL. Basically, this is going to be a guest directory for guest users. You can see a bunch of other options. These are the common options across the Azure portal for Azure services, but there are some of the other options like properties, which are relevant and associated to this respective subscription. And then there's one of the options which is called as tasks, where we can create some of the automation tasks and rules, and those can do some of the automations in the background. And then help and support, that's also be available when it comes to get the help and support needed, right? So this is how it is created and associated with Azure subscription and is going to be added. Now it is added and we can check, or we checked it and it is successfully linked as well as added, right? And now I wanted to dismiss or maybe disconnect it. So I would simply go to subscription and then get into that respective resource group where I have added it. I just need to go ahead and select this one and delete this resource, right? So once I delete it, that's going to be deleted from here, right? And once it is deleted, it's going to simply be removed from Azure side. So there is no linkage between both Azure and the Android, right? So once it is removed, we need to just refresh this whole page so that it's going to be vanished or clean up, and then it would automatically be removed. You can see that there is no linked status, there's no subscription and resource group at all. Now it's back to the normal state wherever it was before, right? So this way we can simply make it possible and we integrate it. So right. So even if we don't want to keep it, we can simply just dismiss. But when it comes to actual production environment, definitely we should be careful enough to do all of these activities, right? Because if we just simply go ahead and disconnect or delete that activity or that subscription, it's going to dismiss everything and there would be a workflow which is going to be completely broken on the user levels. People won't be able to access and everything together, right? So yeah, that is what I wanted to show you and talk about this capability. And you might have seen and used this before, but I wanted to make sure you know and can be used for different scenarios, right? So yeah, that's all for this video. I wanted to talk and show you, also share about these capabilities, right? So let me know if you have used this before or any questions, any thoughts around it, and I would be happy to help on it. Also, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends and people around you so that they can also know and learn it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that every video, once it is uploaded, will be in to see you and you can learn more about it, right? So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.